Well, let's see how tough you are. Tell General Motors today, no more federal contracts until they deal with Rothschild. Let's see how tough you are.
So Bernie Sanders has a new ad out that focuses on Ohio and Trump's failure in Ohio and how Sanders would do things differently. Now, even though it's focused on a certain town in Ohio, I do think it has a larger message that will resonate with people in states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, all of which I'll have some very enlightening polling data to show you after I show you this ad.
At one time, this is what built the middle class during the Industrial Revolution. This area is in trouble, and it's up to us, the people, to fight back. I'm Chucky Dennison. I'm from Lake Milton, Ohio. This is my third plant I've seen close, and I do not plan to transfer again. I plan to stay here and fight back by organizing and transforming the political system from the ground up and reclaim the White House. Trump lied to Ohio. He hasn't done one thing to lift a finger. He came to this area and told people, do not sell your homes. I'm bringing the jobs back. And weeks after that is when they announced the plant closing.
Let me tell you folks in Ohio and in this area, don't sell your house.
A large American factory stopped production today after more than half a century. 1,600 workers at the General Motors plant in Lordstown, Ohio, are affected by this.
The plant is in Trumbull County, a county that voted for President Obama and then for President Trump.
It's not only devastating to the employees who work for that plant, but the families. It affects the whole entire area. Tax revenue, infrastructure, down to the schools. Even the little children in school, their best friends disappear because they're uprooted and have to move. The tire factories are gone, the steel mills are gone. This was all that this area had left. If you drive down our roads now, every one of them's got potholes. He came here and lied to these people. I didn't buy it, but many people did because they were hanging on to hope. They were hoping that he would do something, but he did the opposite.
Trump gave General Motors $700 million in federal contracts.
I mean, this is happening all over this nation with all kinds of corporations. Not only are you hurting workers, communities, but the children and future generations. And it needs to stop now.
Today I say to Donald Trump, you know, you are a really tough guy and you are prepared to
We do.
We need you, and we have your back, and I know you got ours. If we can get you elected, man, we're gonna have the resources to transform America.
All right, so I thought this was an incredibly powerful ad, and it has a message here that I think resonates with people that are also outside of Ohio, understanding Trump's lies about how he was going to help people that were working in manufacturing or help these various industries that have had their jobs cut because of these massively profitable companies cutting all these jobs like GM. So let me give you a little more information on GM that wasn't even included in this video because it gives you a real perspective on how these corporations treat their employees. So GM closed, I think, 4 plants in the US. They closed 1 in Canada. And this was during a time where the quarter before, in the third quarter, GM posted a $2.5 billion profit. So this is a company that was making money, that is making money, is generating a ton of profit, and they still laid off almost 15,000 people in all those plant closures. On top of that, GM also wasted $14 billion on share buybacks since 2014 to artificially inflate their earnings. Not to mention, GM CEO Mary Barra collected nearly $22 million in total compensation for 2017, which is 295 times more than the average GM worker makes. And you put that all together and also include the fact that GM received over $3 billion in taxpayer-funded bailout money in 2008. And you can clearly see how the entire system is rigged. You have this system where both the Democrats and the Republicans, both conservatives and liberals, they prop up these massive corporations, give them corporate welfare. They're able to make all this money for themselves. All the money goes to the top of these companies. Yet they are able to lay off a ton of employees while they are making that money. While they are getting taxpayer-funded bailout money, they can still lay all these people off and continue to make the exorbitant amounts of wealth that they make for the people that are in the executive branches of these companies, for their shareholders as well. This is robbing people blind. This is telling them that, oh, yeah, we're here for you. Oh, these companies, we're going to save them with this this bailout money. Don't worry, GM's going to be back and strong, going to be employing people all over the country, only to lay off 15,000 people 10 years later. This is what these companies do. They don't give a shit about anybody except for whoever is running these corporations. All they care to do is make money for themselves. You see it again and again and again. And Bernie actually has a message that is challenging that existing system, that rigged system. Now, you go on to, so I want to show you some internal polling data from Bernie's campaign. This is from Tulchin Research. And they did polling of Bernie against Trump in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Guess how he did? So let's take a look. In Michigan, Bernie is plus 11. In Wisconsin, plus 10. In Pennsylvania, he's plus 8. So in all of these important swing states that went to Trump, Bernie is leading by, in two cases, over 10 points, or 10 points and 11 points, and in one case, 8 points. But you go, so first of all, on the face of it, this is impressive. I would like to see how the other candidates stack up. So it's one thing to just have, putting yourself against Trump in those states. It's another thing to include all the different candidates and understand, okay, where does everybody else sit here? But other polling, backs up this internal polling as well, that, yes, Sanders is clearly defeating Trump in these states. But I also want to show you this polling. So this also gives you an idea of how people perceive Bernie Sanders compared to Donald Trump. So they asked the question, which candidate for president, Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump, does each of the following phrases best describe in your opinion? So, honest and trustworthy. Bernie is plus 23, and plus 18. Brings people together. He's plus 29, plus 26, plus 20. Understands the struggles of ordinary Americans. Plus 32, plus 28, plus 17. You look at all these numbers. Bernie has leads that are all over 10 points on all of these issues, on all of these questions. Is on the side of the middle class. Plus 18, plus 22, plus 17. Independent of special interests. Bernie's plus 13, plus 11, plus 13. Stands up to the wealthy and powerful. Plus 14, plus 15, plus 14. Will make healthcare more affordable. Plus 19, plus 24, plus 16. And will improve education and make college more affordable. Plus 30, plus 35, and plus 28. So there is a clear divide here, a clear difference of people understanding what the thing that Trump pretended to be about. You see these same voters, at least the majority of them, understanding that now, no, Trump wasn't for the things that he pretended he was about. He's not actually for the working class Americans, because he hasn't done anything for working class Americans. And on top of that, you have a candidate in Sanders that actually he elicits this response because this is who he is. So if you put someone up there like Kamala Harris, are people really going to think that Kamala Harris stands up to the wealthy and powerful? It would be a much harder case to make. Now, compared to Trump, yes, I think she is clearly in a better position on any issue over Trump. But against Sanders, I would not want to take that risk with any of these candidates, because you have Bernie Sanders clearly defining himself as the candidate that doesn't take money from, well, most candidates aren't taking money from corporate PACs, but even you get farther down the list, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, all these candidates, with the exception of Elizabeth Warren, are holding private fundraisers in the primary. So Elizabeth Warren said she would be open to taking money from anywhere if she won the primary and was the general election candidate. But when it comes to the primary, all these other candidates are taking private donor money. So they're having these face-to-face meetings with people from, big pharma companies, potentially fossil fuel companies, especially in the case of Beto O'Rourke, other industries, Wall Street, these industries that will clearly have an impact on their ability to push certain policy positions if they happen to be president, which was the issue with Obama. Obama was heavily funded by Wall Street, and he wasn't too hard on Wall Street. So this is not to mention wasn't too hard. His cabinet was full of Wall Street people. So this is the system that Bernie is trying to challenge, that he is attempting to break up. And when you see somebody that has a 40-year record on these issues, is the only candidate not having any private fundraisers, is simply funded by individual donations, right now averaging $20 a piece, it's clear who Bernie Sanders stands for. And I think it's also very clear that he would be the best candidate to go up against Donald Trump in the general election. One of many reasons. Trump would not be able to say that Bernie is a sellout to corporations, like he did to Hillary, like he did to other Republican candidates, because Trump created this idea that, because I'm rich, I'm self-funded, that I'm not corrupted at all. No, I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm for the people. I'm just a business guy. Total fraud. But in Bernie Sanders, you actually have that message for real. He could not be challenged on that. The only people that will be challenging him in a general election matchup will be the establishment, will be the massive media companies, will be massive corporations that don't want to pay higher taxes or don't want to pay their employees proper wages. That's who is scared of Bernie Sanders. The average American at this point, I think, understands that Bernie actually stands up for the people, unlike Donald Trump, who pretended to be that person.